Okay, today I will be teaching you how to set, assemble, and play the bass. First, we're going to start out with opening the case. And you do like so. And you can pull that zipper over. Now, one important thing to remember, you need to take out the bow before you take the instrument out of the bag. So the bow is in the little side pocket right here.
Oh, is it?
Yes. So just go ahead and take that out. And then we can just leave that on the chair. That way it doesn't damage the bow. And then you slowly take the instrument out of the bag. And then we will set the bag to the side. When you're taking the instrument out, you want to make sure that nothing touches the strings or the fingerboard. And here, let's switch positions. You go ahead and just grab it by the wood. You can grab it by the neck. You can grab it by the base just to prop it upright. So I'm going to show you. And then you can either hold it or lean it against something where it won't fall. I recommend holding it. So let's have you practice that just so you know how it feels. Excellent. There you go. And then let's toss this to the side. Couple things. This might actually be a good height for you. So awesome. I don't have to adjust the end pin, which that's the pin that moves. So that's self-explanatory.
Pretty much.
Now I'm going to talk about how to balance the bass. What you want to do is the balance point is actually right here. You don't actually like hug the bass. You actually have this corner up against your stomach. So if I was shorter, it'd be like up against just like my stomach or my midsection. And your feet are about shoulder width apart and kind of out from here. So just go ahead and practice that.
Okay. Lower it.
So basically, you want this corner to be like kind of perpendicular to where your belly button is.
Okay.
At least that's how it is for me. It's kind of different for everyone. And then you want to have your left hand just grabbing the fingerboard. And then your right hand will go above here.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. So you can just kind of reach around to it easily. One thing that I would do when you're balancing it, make sure that you're not keeping it too like you're not trying to like hug it in. You basically just want it to rest. So like if you feel that you're like trying to hug it in just so that it won't like go away from you, make sure that you're like kind of standing out a little bit. Then you can just lean the bass on into you.
Okay.
And that's pretty good. And I'm going to talk about a couple of sequences, and they're just for posture and kind of checking yourself. So the first one is triangle, and the triangle is 3 points. You have the end pin right there, so that's where the bass is. Then you have your 2 feet. Basically, what you want is for, let's say this is my end pin. If the end pin's right there, I want to make at least, not like an equilateral triangle, maybe like an isosceles triangle with my feet, just so that you can have the bass lean into you.
Okay.
And then the next sequence would be out. So you're literally holding the instrument out in front of you. So if it's in, leaning on you, out would just be holding the instrument out like this, like you're ready to show, or like you're ready to play a concert. And then pull is the next sequence, and pull is the opposite from out. So you just pull it in to where it balances. So out and then pull. So that corner is touching your midsection, balancing that, and then finally strings. So if your arm's to the side, you just bring your right hand up to where you to the fingerboard, and then position your left hand, and that's how that goes. It's kind of a little bit to take in, so. And then when you're positioning your left hand, you want to make sure that your thumb. I'm gonna take this. Your thumb, like the fatty pad of this part, is actually touching this spine. I like to call it the spine of the neck. And then your thumb is going to be lined up with your middle and ring finger. So it's kind of just like in between that.
Okay.
So like it's not going to be like up here because that's kind of an awkward position, and you're not going to crane it way down here because that's also awkward. So about the middle of the hand is where you want to be.
Alright.
So just go ahead and try that out. Okay. There are 4 strings to the bass. This is the E string, and then the next string is A, and then the next string is D, and the next string is G. For today's purposes, we're going to be on the D string, which is this third. If you can look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, D. Yep, so this is the D string. And the hand, for the left hand, there's positions that you can move along the fingerboard. I'm going to teach you first position for today.
Okay.
First position, your first finger is going to be about 4 or 5 inches from the scroll, or like where the fingerboard meets the scroll.
So, wait, where got it?
Yeah, about there. And then you just want to press down very firmly, but make sure that you're keeping your arm up level enough so that it kind of looks like you're leaning your arm against like a flat surface, and you're not like leaning it hanging down, because then your hand will be like contorted in a weird way. So this allows you to move your fingers up and down more effectively.
Okay.
So having only your first finger, just try that. Just kind of touch it down on the board and then let it go, just so you can get used to that. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you aren't like bending this, because then that'll get really tiring after a while, and it kind of hurts.
All right.
So now that you know what that feels like, let's have you. I need to show you your right hand. You know how to block.
Yes.
So do this, make a C, and then turn it this way. So it's a rainbow, and your rainbow kind of fits over your fingerboard, like so. And then you can move the rainbow from string to string. So right now, I just want you to just pluck the D string a couple times. Yeah. And then it's also good to leave your thumb kind of resting right there, like how you had it. Yeah, and then that's the first position. That's the E. That's the next note of the string.
All right.
So just try a couple times D, E, D, E. Yeah, take your time. And if you hear like that buzzing sound, usually that means like there's something touching the strings that's not supposed to be, or it's not touching it all the way. So like a common thing that will happen is your first finger won't press down all the way on the board, so then it'll create that like little buzzing sound. Also, when you hit, you're just plugging the string, and then your finger doesn't touch it anymore until the next note. Yeah, much better. And so we reviewed posture and balance points. This would be the first position. It's the first fingering, as it were. And then I'm gonna skip 2 and 3 because we don't learn those yet because those are not to the next note where we need to be.
Okay.
So the next note we want to go to is F sharp, which is all four fingers down. Now, your spacing, you want to kind of have them like equal distant, and you might even want to extend it just a little bit, extend it as far as you can go,
You guys, I have a tiny hand, right?
and then bring it in a little bit.
In.
So that's okay. Now, go ahead and pluck the string. Yeah. Okay. Now try doing one with your first finger. Oh, wrong. Yeah,
Wrong string.
that happens. And then add the other three fingers. And then kind of go back and forth. 1, 4. Yeah. So that's first position. So now that you know what that feels like, you can go along each string and be in first position. But for today, I'm only going to teach you about 6 notes.
Okay.
So the next note after D, E, F sharp is G. Now we have an open string G. So all you have to do is just go open 1, 4, and then pluck the G string to get to the next note.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and then depending on if you're going to stay on the D string, like if you're going to keep your fingers on the D string, you can make what's called a tunnel, and that's literally just having the string going through the tunnel. So it's kind of like that. So then all you have to do is just pluck it. And you can just leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like we did on the D string, go ahead and balance this. You can move your finger over, move your first finger over, and then you can play the A. So just try that a few times, going from G to A. Yeah, and then if you add the other 3 fingers, you get B. Yeah, and then go ahead and try 1, 4, 1, 4. Yeah. Also, typically you want to use the tips of your fingers, because if you use the bigger fleshy part, that'll tend to muffle some notes, and also it's not like enough pressure on the string, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in when you use your first fingering, because that's the only finger on there. Yeah. So let's go back to your D string, and then just pluck it going open. Oh, open means that there's no fingers on the string.
Right.
Just covering that. Try open 1, 4, then pluck the G string. Try that. Yeah. And then this time do it again, and then go up to B. Yeah. And then try going back down from B.
Okay. You want me to just start from B?
Yeah, start from B. Yeah, that's good that you managed to figure out. Basically, first position will just be the same parallel wise. Like you won't have to adjust, only if the instrument's really out of tune.
Okay.
A couple of other things. I can take this. This part of the instrument is called the bridge. This is what keeps all the tension in the strings and keeping it in place. Believe it or not, there is no glue on this instrument. is all held in by pegs and tension. So that being said, one thing you do want to do is make sure when you're when you're pitsing, you don't want to pitch too far because then otherwise you might break the string. Also, you get something that sounds like this. And that vibrating.
Yes.
That's what's called a Bartok pitch, but a regular pizzicato is just plucking the string. Oh, and when you're pitzing, you want to keep in these three fingers kind of tucked in there, because otherwise, if you have them floating out like this, then you won't always get like a consistent pluck. Also, they might get in the way. It happens. So let's go ahead and have you try that. I wasn't looking earlier to see if you were keeping your fingers in. So just go ahead and pluck the D string a couple times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's have you go from D to B, up to B, and then down to D.
Back down. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Your right hand is a little bit better. What I am noticing is that your left arm is kind of going like this.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, switching makes it really hard.
All right.
This time
Try it
I'll
again.
Yeah. This time I'll watch to see.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I know you have small hands.
Yeah.
So keeping your thumb on the spine probably isn't the best feeling thing in the world. So just go ahead and just put your thumb on the thin part on the apex, I guess. Just like the tip of your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
That way, okay. So you can, yeah. So you're making the tunnel, which is good when you're plucking that D string. Now move to the G string. Just your left hand. Okay, so now you know how that feels. So go back and forth with your left hand between the D and the G string a few times. Do you kind of feel how that feels when you're moving it? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and go up to D to B again, just so you can kind of feel that transition.
Okay.
Yeah, so going back down is probably the most tricky thing. It's easy to go up, but going down, like you're trying to reverse engineer the process that you're using to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Couple other things. Well, your arm's looking better.
Good.
You're doing a good job of keeping it up. And then your thumb is getting used to not moving, even though it wants to move.
Mm-hmm.
And then your right hand's looking good. See if we can touch on anything else. I'll actually have you move to the A string.
Okay.
So that's the A string. Yeah, get a feel for your left hand on how that feels. Yeah, kind of little stretching it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you just to do open in 1. Yeah. And then do 1 and 4 if you're feeling comfortable. Yeah. Yeah, it's it's a thicker string, so it's gonna feel a little bit different than the D or the A strings.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you look like you're in pain. So.
Only a little bit.
only a little bit. So now that you know what that feels like, just a couple other things. This is called the scroll. And these are your tuning pegs.
Mm-hmm.
They tune the strings up. It's self-explanatory. One thing that you don't want to do is over tune it too much. You want to tune it gradually.
Right.
But we won't get into tuning today. And now, once you're all done playing bass and whatever ensemble that you're in, we get to put away the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So,
lean it against the wall.
Actually, what we do is we get the back first.
Okay.
Ideally, we want gravity not to be our enemy, we want it to be our friend.
That's the general good idea.
Once we have this all laid out, this is where the bottom goes. And for reference, your pockets will always go along the fingerboard.
Okay.
So that's just kind of a general thing. And then you just place it in there, like so. You tuck the scroll in there as safely as you can without messing with too many of the mechanical bits.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just tuck it in. I'll leave it in just because it's kind of a hassle trying to sit it back in there. So go ahead and just flip this over. And then obviously, if you would have had your peg out, you would have just pushed it back in after you were done.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how we had the bow go in or come out first?
Right.
Now it's going to go in last. And when you're putting it back in, you want to make sure that the hair doesn't touch any of the Velcro because that will damage the buckle.
I would imagine.
And that is how you assemble, play, and disassemble the double bass.